Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Spincast. Today, we are once again talking about the wonderful topic of collegiate esports, and today we're going to Division One with the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, the Volunteers. So today, we're talking with the faculty advisor for the esports club at UT. His name is Jason Smethers. So without further ado, Jason, go ahead, introduce yourself, give us a little bit of background. Where did your passion start in esports? And how did that take you all the way to where you currently are as one of the faculty advisors at the University of Tennessee?
Thanks for having me, first of all. And so I've been at the university about 10 years. I came out of grad school and wanted to work in higher education around 2008, 2009. Came out to Tennessee, got really lucky, and managed to find one of the only positions available on campus back then. And sort of just meandered around the university for a while. And I taught a first year studies class, and one of my students saw that I had StarCraft and League of Legends icons on my laptop desktop. And he came up to me and goes, "Hey, we're starting a League of Legends club. We need a faculty advisor." And I said, "Sure." I didn't really understand. This was 7 years ago. And I said, "Sure." I didn't really fully understand everything. I watched a lot of YouTube and participated in that community, but I was never a bit giant esports fan. I just played video games
Hmm.
and thought all I had to do was sign paperwork. But alas, within about a month of helping them out and going to their meeting, I went, "Hey guys, you recognize that there's more to esports than League of Legends, right?" And it took about 10 seconds before it transitioned from a League of Legends only club to basically an esports club that encompasses all forms of video games. And we brand the club as esports. That's just for good marketing and PR sake. But ultimately, we're the largest and pretty much the sole sort of gaming club on campus. We support all forms of playing games, casual and competitive. We run a lot of events, and that's our primary focus, is creating events and opportunities for students on campus that want to get into the games industry or just want to play video games and meet other people that like to play video games. We break out sometimes into analog. We have a large Dungeons and Dragons collective as well, and Magic the Gathering is always big, and just board games in general. But our main focus is video games. And then on the competitive side, we then also sponsor teams to play in basically any competitive game that has a collegiate scene available. We try to compete in. So yeah, I've been doing this about 7 years or so, trying to
Awesome.
meander through.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds like you got something really good developing. Hopefully, once the D1 schools kind of get on board with the whole esports thing in an official sense, we can see something really special come from all of that. So you talked a little bit, and we talked a little bit before we started recording about the sense of community at UT. So talked a little bit about how you encompass all the casual gamers and kind of like how you really bolster that gaming community where it's more than just competitive esports, right? Because sometimes there might be a little bit of a division or divide there where the casual gamers are like, I just kind of want to have fun, and the esports are like, no, it's super hyper competitive. So explain the importance of really embracing that community sense there at University of Tennessee.
Well, one of the things that, and I think if you truly talk to people at the large state schools, especially those that don't have some sort of paid staff member, I don't get paid to do esports. I get paid to do something else, and I do this on the side as fun. And I think if you find that with a lot of the Division I schools that are in a similar boat as ours, we get our students for our teams from the community of students at the university. Now, luckily, unlike a small private school that only has a few thousand students, we have a 30,000 student body to choose from, and so it's not like there's not a bunch of people on campus already that are pretty proficient at any game out there. And so for us, early on, we had always valued the community building aspect, watching LCS, doing any kind of watch party. When the Overwatch League started, we would do watch parties for that, and really just having game nights. For pretty much as long as I've been there, we always do at least a weekly or a twice a month, every other week game night, and it's really each of our game nights focuses on a singular game, but then we also open it up to anybody. So if you want to come play Minecraft, come play Minecraft. If you want to just do Jackbox stuff, come play Jackbox party games. But then we'll have Smash tournaments. Sorry, we'll have Smash tournaments. We'll have Tekken tournaments. We'll do League of Legends 1v1s. We'll do Overwatch sniper battles, and that sort of thing. And so it's hard to put a team together of the best players on campus if you're not gathering the best players on campus and just all the players on campus from time to time. And so we really try to emphasize that whole, let's gather together, let's meet other gamers, let's do that sort of thing. The other thing too, we've found a lot of, especially with the communities that have large casual communities but small competitive communities. Smash is probably the easiest examples. So Smash has a massive casual community, and it has a very large competitive community too. But to be the best in it, you got to play it all the time. And a lot of times students are very hesitant to make the jump from casual to competitive. And so by hosting events, they go, oh, I can hang. Oh, I went 0-2 this week, but next week I go 1-2. And pretty soon I'm top 10. Next I know I'm top 3. And then by the end of the semester I've won. And so you can't create those opportunities if you're not creating. You can't have a student have that experience if you're not creating the opportunity for them to have it. So we always try to focus on creating opportunities for our students to get involved and to do more than just play the game in their dorm room.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely love that. 'Cause I think that's a common theme, especially at big universities. I think some students get overwhelmed by the size of the university. That makes sense. So they don't find that home place, that home club or sport or competition or whatever that may look like. And esports really gives that to them, whether that's casual gaming, like having game nights, watch parties, or playing competitively.
The other
Absolutely
thing too,
fantastic.
and this gets lost a lot, is whenever you say esports, everyone's like, oh yeah, I can go pro and I can play on a team. The reality is, like, I don't know, 0.1% of you are going to make a professional team, but 10% of you are going to go be professionals in esports, or going to go be professionals in something similar related. Esports, for every one player, there's at least 5 or 10 managerial administrative positions that are helping run the league. And so we need those people just as much as we need good players. And so it's nice to create we try to create opportunities from time to time with that. We do streaming sessions for those guys that want to do streaming. We work on production stuff. We have a marketing team for anybody that wants to work and bolster their PR portfolio. Also hosting the events, it's always at least one student's responsibility to be the TO, to be the event planner and that sort of stuff. So it gives people the opportunity to gain that sort of relevant experience. Now we don't pay them to do that, but at least they can put it on their resume, and when they finally go to that job interview, they say, oh yeah, I ran events every week for the club for the last 4 years. And someone goes, oh, well, that's way better than the person that's just participated in an event. And so it helps a student stand out because the crowd of people wanting to get involved, but their only experience is that I play lots of video games. That crowd is huge. But the crowd of people that are like, oh yeah, I want to get involved and I've already done it, is much smaller, and hopefully employers are starting to notice that that's one of the great benefits of college.
Yeah, exactly. That collegiate experience gives that ground of like, hey, go play in the club or play on the team or whatever it may look like at your university, and get that experience. Because to me, esports experience is so minute. A lot of people play games, like you said. A lot of people are involved, but they don't have that experience that companies are looking for, employers are looking for. So I guess my next question kind of goes off that. You touched on it just a little bit there. Do you guys have any like specific esports programs for like coursework or degrees at UT that either you're actively pursuing or trying to develop to give these students even more of a unique skill set beyond just the tournament organization experience itself?
So nothing official. And I honestly, if someone comes across a program that does find that, I would be super cautious in what that program really is offering and what are you
Mm-hmm.
actually gaining from it. And I would advise any student to really look at it. There's you, for instance, esports is a genre, is a subcomponent of much larger industries. So let's take, for instance, and I talk to my students all the time. Everyone thinks, oh yeah, the esports students are all the computer science majors and whatnot. And I go, man, I'd love to have all the computer science majors in the club. But the reality is that most of our majors come from arts and sciences, humanities disciplines. I've got 10 or 20 journalism majors. I've got 10 or 20 accounting majors. So like you can do a job in esports, but get your degree. Your undergraduate degree is more about getting general knowledge and then spending some time focusing in on something specific. So if you want to go work in esports, but you just want to do management side, go get a management degree. And while you're studying in management, do all your projects and work based around esports. If you want to go work in journalism and broadcasting, go get a broadcasting degree and have all of your highlight reels be your esports casting,
Mm-hmm.
rather than getting an esports degree. Like what? I don't know. I'm really hesitant about esports degree. Now, there are people that have created esports minors, and we're looking at that as being able to at least have an official credential that says, other than, oh yeah, I participated in a club, other than that, but have something a little more official that says, yeah, I took at least some very specific components that taught me about the minute details and differences between esports and regular sports. And we are looking at that, but that's probably quite a ways off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I always advise students, figure out what component of esports would be interesting to you and go get that degree, and then but add esports in on your own. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's not going to be any difference between doing that and just getting an esports quote unquote major.
Yeah.
um and in fact, you're probably more likely, it's probably better for you because it's better to get experience. So let's take journalism. It's better to get experience from people who have journalism experience and worked in newspapers or worked for ESPN, and you apply that same information that they gathered from their much larger industry to the esports industry, and now all of a sudden esports has this sort of breadth of knowledge and has people that have that experience, not just in the minute detail differences of esports broadcasting, but the broadcasting trends in general, and so you can apply the wide variety of skill sets that you gather, to your more specific domain,
Mm-hmm.
especially at the undergraduate level. Now, if graduate degrees start to get more popular and that sort of thing, it's a whole different story. But
Mm-hmm.
at the undergraduate level, it's about getting just enough general knowledge so that you can go learn how to do something much more specifically when you enter the field.
Yeah, I absolutely love the way you put that. The way that I look at it basically the exact same way is that you can take any field right now and it is extremely relevant and growing in the esports world, whether that's journalism, legal work, marketing, advertising, computer software development, computer science, the actual hardware and technology development side of it. All of it has some kind of aspect in esports because that world is so big and all of those different levels. So I
The
couldn't
other thing
agree
I
more.
like, the other thing I like to advise students is ask, go when you meet faculty or when you meet someone in the industry, ask them what their undergraduate degree is in. My undergraduate degree is in music education, and here I am working in higher education and helping an esports club. Like, what does music ed have anything to do with any of that? But I still got a valuable education and all that sort of stuff. So like, I think people would be wildly surprised what the undergraduate degree really means when it comes to actual like gaining professional jobs or gaining professional experience. It has a totally different meaning than what most high school students actually think it does.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, you can apply any degree in anything to any field you want.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on you to sort of get that experience that in the specific area you want to do. If you want to be in esports management and event planning, go plan events. No degree is going to be better than actually trying to put on a 100-person event.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what you do. Like
Yeah.
the degree is going to help get you in the door down the road, but it's also going to help to have actually gone out and done it and done the thing. And the
Hmm.
benefits of college is that we have the resources to help you do that,
Hmm.
especially the big schools. So actually, really, all the schools have those resources available. The university provides venue space for free to students to use. They provide equipment for free. They provide marketing support for free. Like, they provide all those things, and so those are things that if you were out there on your own just trying to create your own company, you're going to have a lot harder time. But as a student, since we provide all that stuff because you already paid us money, then we're going to try to help you actually, learn how to do it safely and properly, so that if it fails, okay, no worries. That's what being a student is. You're allowed to fail a little bit. Um,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love all of those points there. Is that college is that safety net, right? Your college is almost designed for you to experience some sort of failure at some level, right? Obviously, colleges don't want you to flunk classes, but learning how to get better from failure is a key point of finding success later in life as you pursue any kind of career, whether that's esports specific or not. So my, or were you going to say something? Or
Nope. Go ahead.
very good. My next question would be kind of going back to the esports club specifically. Those players that do play competitively in esports, what kind of opportunities do they look for? Are there any particular tournaments or leagues that you guys play in? What does that look like? Their kind of dedication and grind. Anything specific, more specific to the esports side of it at the club level?
Yeah. So the club level is not much different than probably any level in collegiate. We sponsor, and by sponsor I mean we provide opportunities for. Last year we had 13 different competitive teams, and I think 11 different games. Rocket League had multiple teams, and Rainbow Six had multiple teams as well. And so what our philosophy, and I can't remember if I said this earlier, our philosophy is if we can find students that want to play competitively, enough of them, and there is a collegiate league to play, a collegiate focused league to play in, we will put a team together and provide an opportunity for those players to play, to compete, and represent the University of Tennessee. And so we do not. So we have the benefit of we don't we don't have scholarship dollars yet, and so we don't have to sort of pick and choose. Oh yeah, only League of Legends gets scholarship money. Only Smash Brothers gets scholarship money. We can say no. Hey, you're all on an equal playing field. So if you want to play, find a team. And okay, who wants to be captain? You go. And here's the league to play in. Here are the 3 different leagues to play in. And one of my jobs that I spend a significant amount of time doing is simply reaching out and finding different collegiate focused opportunities for students to play in, and then passing that along to the students and saying, hey, you guys should play in this, you guys should play in that. They don't have to, that's on them to decide, but I feel my responsibility is to provide them a space to do it. And there have been times where there isn't a space yet, and some of our students have gone out and created them. The PUBG, the collegiate PUBG was started by a group of UT students, and when PUBG first came out, and so that the collegiate Call of Duty, one of the sort of early members who's been sort of helping run collegiate Call of Duty is also a UT student, and that league didn't exist until a couple of years ago. And so it's not just, while there are large leagues, League of Legends, TESPA, we participate in as many of the national leagues as we can. We also sort of try to get into any opportunity that a student can compete in. Sometimes that means competing for money. Sometimes it doesn't. The difference we have is that I, they can compete in any circuit they want to compete in. So if there's, I mean, so the University of Maryland is the best example. Their Overwatch team competed in or qualified for Overwatch contenders and competed in the Overwatch Open. And while yes, we would have put a team in had the team wanted to play, we're not focused on that sort of thing. We're not focused on trying to create a professional team. Our focus is trying to create opportunities. And so if students want to go create a professional team, they can, or semi-professional team, they can go create that too, and we won't slow them down. But we're going to spend most of our time focusing on competing against other universities and developing the intercollegiate nationally and regionally. The Southeastern Conference schools all are spending a significant amount of time pushing the conference office to say, hey, this is a thing. Even if you don't want to recognize us, at least allow us to call ourselves the Southeastern Conference and let us
Mm-hmm.
play. It happens in other sort of club sport level things that aren't official NCAA sports, hockey, or official conference sports, hockey being the biggest example, rugby. The SEC doesn't sponsor hockey or rugby, but there's an SEC hockey league and there's an
Mm-hmm.
SEC rugby league. So we kind of want to be able to do the same thing with
Mm-hmm.
our peers. Um, and so we'll spend a lot of our time focusing on that as well. But yeah, any opportunity that is in collegiate, we will try to put our students of it. If we can find enough students,
Yeah.
that's always can always be the struggle. And some students play multiple sports. So we have a few students that play both Overwatch and Rainbow Six, and
Mm-hmm.
so they might be on the A team for Overwatch, but on the B team for Rainbow Six. And so if they want to do that and they have the time, and it doesn't conflict, we'll allow them to do that. That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
happen very often. For the most part, it's those that really want to do it that way are focus in on the single sport.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other benefit too is that and I don't even know sometimes when they do this because students are not always great at always telling me their accomplishments. But like a lot of our students have ended up in sort of semi-professional teams as a result of participating in one of our teams. And so the experience of playing on our teams have put them on semi-pro rosters and gotten them experiences and connected them with professional leagues and whatnot to give them a shot. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think the University of Tennessee has put anybody on a pro roster yet, as far as I know. Again, students might there's a lot of leagues, so students might have
Mm-hmm.
to tell me.
Yeah.
But a lot of them have ended up in semi-pro slots, have at least tried out and had some success. A bunch of them are working in the industry. A bunch of our graduates are working in the industry as well for places like the esports arena and DreamHack and all those sorts of opportunities and places.
Mm-hmm.
So participating in playing on a team is definitely beneficial. Um, we, much like most of the Division I schools, aren't necessarily going to we don't currently have hired coaches or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that, but we do attempt and we try to connect people with industry professionals from time to time. I'm working on developing a speaker series that connects everyone with industry professionals. Last year I did a sort of broad games industry professional series in which I brought in people who did something other than making video games.
Mm-hmm.
They made educational games. We talked to the marketing rep for a board game company. We got Jacob Wolf from ESPN to come talk to the students. And so we try to provide those opportunities outside of just the competitive side as
Mm-hmm.
well. And the great thing about collegiate too is that it's collegial. We like to talk to each other. There's no secrets. We don't keep
Exactly.
secrets. We share everything, and so everyone's always willing to network and connect. And so simply entering the realm provides you access to this massive network of other schools and people that you can now talk to and meet and get jobs, get internships, do anything you ever wanted to do. And as we said before, it's an opportunity to fail. You're going to look bad from time to time, but you know what? Everyone looks pretty awful when they're collegiate. And so it's your opportunity to try something and see if it works, see if it didn't. You never know what'll happen.
Exactly. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Like that last one right there, learning from failure in anything, whether that's playing competitively and like, hey, I lost this round. Why did I lose this round? Analyzing it, getting better from there, or having any kind of mistakes that you learn from is obviously a plus. It can lead to success. And there's a number of things that I would love to talk about more that you just responded to, but we are a little bit short of time. So I do have one question for you. Looking at the future of collegiate esports. We talk a lot about like, okay, when are these conferences going to hop on? Like, hey, esports is a thing. It's this massive industry that's growing extremely fast and is, going to hit $1 billion in revenue this year. I think it's the production or projection, and then 1.5 next year. Um, what do you hope to see grow your esports grow into? Does that look like an NCAA? Does it look like some kind of overarching organization, or keep it with all these like mini organizations? Where do you think esports should head from that collegiate perspective? in the next, say, like 3 or 4 years to really bring collegiate esports to one of those top tier competitions that gets a lot of attention like football and basketball and baseball does?
Well, there's the should head and where it will head. Where it is currently heading is still in the sort of publisher dominated. The publishers get to make a lot of the decisions and whatnot. And in collegiate, that just does not work. The reason the NCAA exists is because the NCAA is made up of the institutions and run by the institutions. They always get a bad rap as being an evil body and that sort of thing. But the reality is that the rules exist because a group of schools decided that that should be a rule. And one of the dilemmas right now in collegiate esports is that there has not been consensus on whether or not collegiate esports should go that same path, whether it should be whether the rules should be decided by the participants rather than by some outside group. And right now, all the rules are determined by an outside group. There are some leagues that have sort of student committees that sort of help run them and help decide those things. But for the most part, it's still dominated by X company, X for-profit company wants to make all these decisions and that sort of thing. And so collegiate esports needs to figure out, do they want to be collegiate or do they want to be semi-pro? And those are two very different scenarios and two very different systems. I'd like to see collegiate actually truly embrace collegiate. I'd like to see the walls break down, and there are groups that, again, for the most part, everyone, like I said, is collegial and we share everything, but there are still some groups that don't and trying to keep things close to the chest. I'd like to see it break down. At the same time, I don't want to see it be restrictive. I don't want to say student cannot make money from playing. I mean, if someone wants to give a collegiate organization $1 million prize pool to divide up amongst the winners, then they should be able to win $1 million prize pool. That said, I'd love to see a world where collegiate doesn't rely on that. We don't need it, right? So I don't want to say, no, you can't win it. But at the same time, right now, a lot of the leagues provide scholarships to the players, and that's how the teams get their scholarship dollars. Instead, I'd rather see a world where we don't need to provide scholarships because everyone's already on full rides. So I'd love to see that world as well. The reason I want to see something like the NCAA, but not maybe the NCAA, but at least the regional conferences that already exist, the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, I like to see those get together because we're already doing it. And so it would be nice to get it'd be nice to get the support that having the conference name and tag allows us. So if we go in and say, hey, we're all the SEC schools, but we don't have the SEC's permission, but we're going to run an event. If I go to Coca-Cola and ask them for money, they're going to give me a little bit. But if the SEC office goes to Coca-Cola and asks for money to run this event, all of a sudden that price tag that they're willing to donate and willing to supply and sponsor is 10 times as large. The conversation is the outcome is the exact same, but the conversation is different. And so it would be great to see the conferences be able to sort of open up their doors a little bit. The difficulty will be financial times are going to be rough. And so I imagine a world in which, based on finances, the status quo retains for another 5 years. But I would imagine in about 10 years, you're going to see a sort of identity shift. Someone is going to say, this isn't working, and we're going to go to this path. Or someone's going to say, nope, we like it this way, and it's going to stay, and it's going to enhance. And so I'd love to see universities get more say in how things operate. And hopefully that's where we're going to get. And that's what something like an NCAA type institution or even just the regional conferences, one of the benefits of that is, again, we as universities get a say in the rules and recruiting rules and tournament schedules. And that's the other thing. I want set seasons. Right now, everyone's trying to play all year long, and it's not sustainable. We need to ultimately figure out a set season. And Rocket League is this time of year, League of Legends is this time of year, Overwatch is this time of year, and they can overlap. But enough of this, we're playing Rocket League all year long. Yeah. That's fine, and that can work for a little while, but it's unsustainable from a staffing perspective. We need a vacation. Students need time off. They need to relax, and they need to take breaks. There needs to be
an off season for sure.
Needs to be an off season. But that's the future. The future will ultimately be the universities sort of have more say.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to have to be that way, especially for the big schools. The big public schools, that's how we live. We live in being able to in communication and sort of that combined. I'm blanking on the way to say. Anyway, we live in that world where we all make decisions together rather than some stock person who owns stock or some CEO gets to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not how we operate.
Yeah,
We want say in how things are run, and so that's the ultimate
exactly.
way, ultimate goal.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's just too much. There's just this over flooding of the market in collegiate esports with all these organizations, and a lot of them are for profit for sure. Rather than like, hey, it's collegiate esports, so why aren't the colleges and universities, like you said, have the say, and they develop the rule set and the seasons and the schedule and what the recruiting policies are and scholarship dollars. All of that should come from the people that have the teams. But rather right now it's kind of reverse. So.
The other thing I look forward to, I look forward to as well. The hard part with esports is people try to equate esports to a singular sport. So like they
Hmm.
try to say, "Oh, esports will be the next football," and I go, "No, you're thinking about it wrong. Esports is the next athletics department.
Hmm.
It's an entire department that, like I said, we have 13 teams. Can you imagine if the football coach had to monitor 13 different teams that do different things on different schedules? Like, no, I'm an athletic director. I'm
Hmm.
not I'm not I'm not I'm not just a coach of one team, and I'd love to see more schools embrace that. There are a
Hmm.
lot of schools that have focused in and doubled down on a sport, on a game, and I'd love to see them all sort of embrace all the games, the entire ecosystem. It's a massive ecosystem, and it will be difficult, but I'd love to see more embracing of everything. Let's everyone that gets in the CWL, in the OWL, in the LCS, and every stupid acronym that's out there. We embrace all of those.
Hmm.
We're not sort of saying, oh no, you can only play in these, and that
Hmm.
includes like the FG, the fighting games community, Smash, everything. Like, let's embrace all of it rather than saying no, only these sports are gonna get funding. And I get
Hmm.
you got to start somewhere, chicken and egg problem, but I love for the day that all of our teams are varsity teams, not just two of them.
Yeah.
That will be awesome. That will be such
Yeah.
a cool day.
I think that day will be the landmark day of success for collegiate esports, right? When it doesn't matter what the game is, is it competitive? Yes. Okay, you have varsity funding and support.
That said, so here's my final plug since you're trying to close it out. Assuming the world reopens and we get to go back to normal, we host a LAN competition every spring, the last weekend in March, and we're hoping to bring it back to campus. So if anyone's looking to travel and to experience more than just one game, but to play in any variety of games, you're welcome to come to Knoxville. It's called VOLAN, VOLAN. And you're welcome to Knoxville the last weekend in March. And anyone from the college space or high school wanting to meet other college people in Southeast, come to campus, and we'll see you all in the last weekend in March 2021.
Yeah, hopefully the world is back enough to normalcy where that can actually happen. That I cannot wait for any kind of LAN esports to come back. I miss going to majors and championships and all that kind of great stuff. So you kind of already plugged yourself. Tell us where we can find the club itself, website, Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, and then we'll wrap up from there.
We have the great advantage of being branded UTK Esports on everything. We're UTK Esports on Facebook, Instagram. Twitter is the easiest place to find us, from where we are the most active. But also, if you want to just come meet the club, hang out, we use Discord, discord.gg/UTK Esports. We also have a website that we don't update very often, but utkesports.com. So find us anywhere you're looking at UTK Esports, and that's where we are. We take everybody. We are inclusive of every person, no matter what game you like. Whether even if you don't like video games, we'll take you. And so yeah.
Awesome, awesome, incredible stuff. There's a lot of great insight in there. I wish we could talk for longer, but unfortunately, we do have to wrap up. So everybody, you know where to find Jason and UTK Esports. Google UTK Esports with whatever form of social media you want after that, and you'll find them for sure. Thank you, Jason, for participating today. Absolutely loved having you on the show, and hopefully we can have you on another show in the future as we continue to expand this series. So to everybody out there, stay healthy and stay happy in these unprecedented times, and ultimately stay plugged in.